All right, welcome back to Fast Gadgets. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work on my Lenovo Yoga 910, which unfortunately is still having the problem where the screen has been flipped upside down, but the mouse coordinates are still the same as if the screen hadn't been flipped, which is a real problem when you're trying to work. So let's get into it and see if we can get this fixed. Okay, well, I did figure out a workaround. It was quite a chore, I have to admit. It took me quite a bit of research to figure this out. Now, some of the things I should have seen that were painfully obvious right from the get-go, but I didn't, so shame on me. A couple things. One, there's an icon right here where you can freeze the rotation. So once I got GNOME to be in the correct display mode, I froze the rotation, and then when I went ahead and did my log out, which I'm going to do now, actually I did a reboot, not just a log out. When I did the reboot, this screen was still upside down, the login screen. Okay, we're logging in. So basically, once the system logged in here, and again with the Bluetooth shutting off, I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm gonna have to check and see if that service is set to automatically restart or if it's set for manual. Anyway, Bluetooth back on. Did I get my mouse? Yes, I did. In addition to this rotation setting, if I go to settings, and I'm going to dim this down a little bit, make sure you can see everything clearly. And I go to displays and then built-in display. You see it's not showing now. Earlier, when I killed a process, and I'm going to let you know what that process was. So if I do a history and grep on IIO, this command right here, if you actually stop the command IIO-sensor-proxy, what's really interesting is you'll see some buttons right here appear. One has an arrow going up and down, one has an arrow going to the right, and the other has an arrow going to the left. And you can actually rotate the screen manually. So that process is responsible for rotating the screen automatically. So those sensors are supposed to be working, but this is a problem. Now, interestingly enough, and I see this happen quite a bit, looking at the bug reports in Red Hat, the IIO-sensor proxy service was having a problem with rotation, so they actually put in a delay to have this particular process start later in the startup process to fix the problem. Well, with Fedora 26, they went ahead and reverted because they assumed it was fixed, but in actuality, it's not on all the computers. So hopefully you can see that. IIO-sensor-proxy. So if you need to, you can do a systemctl stop and temporarily stop that process. You can also disable it if you need to with the systemctl command, but I just did a temporary disable. Now, when you do that, the lock button will disappear for screen rotation. So you're better off leaving this alone, but this kind of clued me in as to why I wasn't seeing screen rotation options here, because supposedly the accelerometer sensors are working correctly and I'm supposed to be able to do a rotation just by flipping the laptop, which clearly is not working. So this particular fix is, again, I'm going to leave, you can't see, but there's a tiny little lock in a screen kind of tilted to an angle. You can't have this button if you disable the IIO sensor proxy service. So just as to why you're not seeing the settings there. So the bottom line is, get the screen displaying correctly, lock the rotation. Now this is only working in GNOME, so I may have to go ahead and do my work in GNOME. Not an issue for me. That'll work perfectly fine. I don't really care. You know, I prefer KDE the way it looks in Plasma, but we'll worry about that later. I'm sure a bug report will come out and they'll hunt this down and get it fixed again. Until then, this is definitely going to work. I now have a working system. It's been tested in reboot, so not a problem doing the reboot. Came back up. As long as I have that sensor locked and I know what to do now if it happens again. All right, well, as you've seen, we were actually able to get things working. So it was a little bit of a workaround, a little bit of hunting and pecking, but all in all, it's gonna work for now and at least get me through until I see a fix come in. Being an IT professional, what my thoughts on the matter are, you can expect problems with systems to go wrong, like the Yoga 910, whether it's Fedora or Mac OS on a Mac or Windows on a Windows system. It really doesn't matter either way. As a matter of fact, this system here, I had a problem on the Yoga 910 with Windows when I did I believe it was the Creators Update I did, and this was a couple months back. And it really did not work. Hardware support was not there, so I did have to roll it back with the help of a couple of people here on the FastGadgets channel. Thank you very much, David Grishko. So did a rollback, got things working again, and just kind of worked past the problem. But what if I have an insurmountable problem like I do here with Fedora 26? Well, I've got another system back here that I'm using on desktop that's actually very old, but it also does a dual boot. It has Fedora 26 running just fine on it, but then again, it doesn't have the accelerometer or the sensors that the laptop does, so that's to be expected. And it also boots into Windows 10. The laptop, the Yoga 910, can also boot into Windows 10, so it's not like I'm left without a system that works. Now, some of you may say, yeah, but I don't have a whole lot of money to spend, so I only have the one system that I have. Well, there's always options. If I really need to do something in Linux, I could go ahead and boot up with a thumb drive and then mount my Linux partitions and get access to my files and folders that way. So that's one possibility. The other thing is, of course, it's a dual boot, so I have the ability to use Windows 10 anytime I want, and I do have some virtual machines for Fedora in there. So either way, I'm able to get access to the things that I need one way or the other. So the bottom line is, you don't have to spend a lot of money if you need access to, well, I shouldn't say if you need access, but you need a working system. There are ways around it to make pretty much any system work. And then when you're in a position where, okay, I can't really afford a new system, well, I have an iMac in the corner here. I've done a video on it. You can check it out. It was a 2008 or 2009 model that I got for 80 bucks, and it runs El Capitan, and it runs really well. And that's another good backup system I have. So it's not like you have to blow a lot of money for a backup system if you're in need. As always, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video with FastGadgets. If you did, like and subscribe. Maybe give it a share. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. And just as a follow-up, so I had my surgery Monday. You may see I have a little bit of a bulge here. So the surgery went well. Got the new pacemaker defibrillator implanted. And they have this new special patch that they put over a wound. And basically what they do is they pack in a whole bunch of antibiotics, and the patch is waterproof. And you leave it on for a week and it heals incredibly fast. So I'm able to get up and on my feet after 5 days, and I'm feeling really good. Hopefully things will continue going well, and I'm going to see you next time on a couple more FastGadgets videos.